You either have to destroy all of their military nuclear capabilities and or you have to close off their ability to make a lot of money. And so far, the United States has been unwilling to take the risks around both of those things.
The US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said the administration's will is endless, but the war with Iran won't be. So what is the extent of the Trump administration's ambitions in Iran? Well, the answer could lie on a tiny island in the Persian Gulf. Kharg Island handles an estimated 80 to 90% of Iran's oil exports, but it's been left so far untouched by American and Israeli strikes. Could that be about to change? Well, the geopolitical analyst Ian Bremmer has been writing about this, and he joins me now. Ian, good evening.
Good to see you.
OK, tell us about Kharg Island. Why is it so significant for anyone that hasn't heard of it before?
Well, it's where about 90% of Iran's oil exports go through. So it's utterly essential for that production and transit. And it's also, of course, a choke point that allows the Iranian government to make money. So if the United States is intent on ensuring that oil continues to pass at levels that are affordable, but doesn't want the Iranian regime to make billions and billions of dollars, then controlling Kharg, I mean, if you can't get regime change, then controlling Kharg seems to be one of the few options that you are left with.
Yeah, now that could stranglehold Iran and cause regime change, one could argue. Where does most of the crude that goes through Kharg go to currently?
Most of it's going to China. There are, of course, sanctions on Iranian crude, and most of what they produce, they're not able to actually export, but you still have had a significant amount out, and the Chinese have been all too happy to buy it.
It's remained untouched and in part undiscussed. I was reading some of your work on it at the weekend, actually, which first brought my attention to it. And I had no idea ignorantly about the existence of Kharg Island, but it appears Donald Trump has, I was reading today in an interview with The Guardian back in 1988, he talked in very strong words with dislike for Iran's Islamic Republic, and talked about whether he might do a number on Kharg Island to try and beat them. I'd go in and take it, he said. The interview was to promote his book, The Art of the Deal. So we know that Trump's had his eye on it.
What we know is that it's been discussed, and so far it's been rejected. There have been a couple things that have been rejected. Also, there are nuclear enriched uranium stockpiles, a hardened facility at Esfahan, which the Israelis have been very intent on American commandos taking out. Trump is considering it. But American military commanders and CENTCOM so far have said no because it's quite risky and it would expose the troops to the material, which is also very difficult to dispose of or destroy. So, I mean, I'm getting at a couple of points here that it increasingly looks like the regime that is going to be in place in Iran is a regime that the Americans are incredibly uncomfortable with and that will continue to try to export terrorism, develop nuclear capabilities and the rest. Which means, you know, you've got a couple of choices. You either have to destroy all of their military and nuclear capabilities and or you have to close off their ability to make a lot of money. And so far, the United States has been unwilling to take the risks around both of those things. By the way, with perfectly good reason, which, you know, might have argued maybe you shouldn't have started this war to begin with. But you can't take that back. So now they're in a bit of a box.
OK. I suppose in sort of terms of strategy, what are the pitfalls of Kharg? We know where it's located. It's about, 15 miles off Iran's Persian Gulf coastline. What are the considerations that the US will be sizing up when they consider whether they want to have a go at trying to take control of it?
Well, I mean, it's small. It's about 40% of the size of Manhattan. It's pretty flat. It's not hugely fortified. So taking it wouldn't be that hard. But you've got a couple of issues. The first is if the Iranian government understands that you're about to have a stranglehold on their money on where it goes, like as America is presently doing with Venezuela, it's possible they'd blow it up, right? I mean, they can
really?
destroy it. Yeah, sure. I mean, if they wanted to just sabotage and destroy it, they certainly could. And so that's a vulnerability and something the Americans are concerned about. The second is, you can take it, but then you have to hold it. Then you have to own it. Iran still has plenty of drones and they intend to make more. So again, as long as this regime is in place, any American soldiers that would be stationed there would certainly be vulnerable. And given what Trump has been saying over the last 24 hours, and again, I know he has said many things over the last 24 hours, but they all generally orient towards a climb down and certainly towards, don't you dare bring these prices up. You might have seen that Iran is now reportedly laying mines in the Straits of Hormuz, which again shouldn't come as a surprise. They have about 5,000 mines total, and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps will be very determined in laying them. Trump basically saying, don't you dare. If you do, I'm going to hit you back really, really hard. You've never seen anything like it. But if you don't, then this could be a wonderful thing. So this is really everything Trump has been saying is oriented towards, I really don't want these oil prices to be high for a long period of time. And taking Kharg, is absolutely a big risk to oil prices.
Yeah, I mean, if they take Kharg, they will, of course, put a stranglehold on Iran financially. Can they utilize the oil easily?
If it's flowing and if the Straits of Hormuz are open, then yes. But those are two big ifs. I mean, a part of the problem here is that President Trump has decided that Venezuela went so incredibly well. They took out Maduro. They're working with the new regime. They're controlling the oil. They're ensuring it's going to what they want it to go with. The American companies are all investing. And he really was like, I want to do that, but bigger in Iran. And so far, there's really only been one problem with that strategy. And that is that Iran, as it turns out, is not Venezuela.
Yes, very true.
But other than that, I think they had this plan pretty much pegged.
Wow. A quick one on why Iran didn't or hasn't fortified Kharg. That seems curious to me, being that it's a vulnerability.
It's not there's nothing there. It's just not heavily fortified. And I mean, there are a lot of desalination plants are not heavily fortified. I mean, there's only so much military capability. This is a comparatively weak regime. What have they fortified? Their nuclear capabilities, deep underground, and the crown jewels, because they know that is a level of deterrent against people striking them. Perhaps some of the view of Kharg is like, well, you hit Kharg and everything's gone. So it's sort of mutually assured destruction economically for the whole world. And again, if this is ultimately, if this is a theocratic fundamentalist regime, and Trump has hit them a couple times before, they haven't hit back, but that's because he hasn't hit them that hard. He's now sort of threatening them with removal, threatening the regime with removal. He's telling them, I'm assassinating you, your military leaders, and I'm telling your people, come and get their government. Well, I mean, in that circumstance, the possibility that this regime won't deal with Trump and instead just kind of goes down with the ship is real. And that obviously is, I mean, the Gulf states are feeling that today. The global markets are feeling the consequences of that today.
Yeah, look, you've talked about how the notion that initially the US plan in Iran may have been sort of a copycat for what happened in Venezuela. We spoke to the broadcaster and founder of the media company Zetio, Mehdi Hassan, earlier on Times Radio. He spoke to John Pienaar. He discussed what he thought really prompted the US action in Iran.
Luckily, we don't need a theory. The one good thing about this administration is they often say the quiet part out loud. So Secretary of State Marco Rubio, last Monday, over a week ago, went to Capitol Hill and he was asked, well, where's the imminent threat? There's no intelligence of an imminent threat. The Iranians were negotiating with the Omanis. The Omani foreign minister went on American television and said the Iranians have agreed to everything that Trump wants. This was the day before Trump attacked and Israel attacked. And Rubio says, well, we were told that the Israelis were going to attack Iran. And once they attacked Iran, Iran would hit us. So we hit them first.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very confusing picture. You've characterized this, and I should say, by the way, that was Mehdi Hassan, founder of the media company Zetio.
And Mehdi did, I hope Mehdi followed up by saying that almost immediately Rubio actually retracted and said that was not actually what happened, right?
I have no idea. I was busy and prep for this show, but
Well,
you're
at least
right.
I am doing that for your listeners.
We talked a lot last week about that, about the really confusing context offered by the United States for this. It changed, it flip-flopped around about 3 different times, didn't it? Before we stopped talking about it anyway, moved on.
That is the great thing about the Trump administration, is if you do not like one argument that they give for an action, wait around, they will give you
can easily
another.
find another. You've characterized this as a war of choice by Trump. Is he really leading all of this, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, this isn't being led by the Israelis. President Trump has been planning for these strikes for a couple months now. He waited because the options that were provided to him, he wanted to go pretty big, but the U.S. military was not adequately in position to defend American bases and Israel. That's why they sent the 2 aircraft strike carrier groups and other military capabilities. It took a while to actually get them in the position. He made this decision. It is on him, the timing, the decision to go with Israel, but not to coordinate, not even to discuss in advance with American allies, including the United Kingdom, all the NATO allies, and also the decision to go much bigger than the 12-day war and instead to actually decapitate and essentially call for regime change on Iran. All of that was purely the decision of Donald Trump. And so, I mean, to the extent that it's not going the way he likes, he gets to own it. And that's a real problem for him in the upcoming midterm elections, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. One eye on those and domestic pressures. And we know that American voters are not a big fan, not big fans of this war.
Israel loves the war. The people in Israel are very, very supportive. The American
Americans
population
don't,
is a strong
obviously.
majority
Yeah.
opposed.